morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this very special segment today here on the 16th day of March 2023. And it's a beautiful day out here in Brisbane, 25 degrees and mostly sunny. So it's looking very, very good. What do we have for you today? So we have the news update. Then we have a very special interview with Ashish Dhul of DJJS, talking about the upcoming Nav Varsh Mela, which is the Indian New Year. And then, of course, we will finish off with our daily India report with Simran. Well, let's get into the news first. Big news, during the pandemic, there was a big drain and many people withdrew from their super. Here's that report.
There's so much covered in this study. One of the key takeaways for me is obviously the numbers, but also the profile of who took out their super. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, overwhelmingly people chose not to withdraw, so that's sort of a good thing, I think, but 1 in 6 Australians, 1 in 4 34-year-olds decided to withdraw, and what we notice is that group is a very, very strange group of people, right? They're very different to the general population. They have slightly lower wages, something like 8% lower wages, but it's not like they were suffering a temporary reduction in wages. That lower wage is kind of permanent. But what we see is they have much lower financial assets. So something like 75% less saving. They were making 90% less voluntary contributions to their super. They're in occupations like construction workers and other blue-collar professions. And they're by and large outside of the cities, and if they're in the cities, they're in lower socioeconomic areas. So in general, we see the program really strongly selected on a particular group of people with very poor financial health.
Yeah, more than 40% of people employed as construction and mining labourers use the program, which is fascinating. Yeah. What do they spend the money on?
Yeah, so we watch people's bank accounts after they receive the funds, and what we see is, most people got out $10,000, and most people did it twice, and they spent roughly 43% within the first 8 weeks, and that's spending. That's really, a debit on your account. It doesn't include debt repayments. It doesn't include external transfers. So the real number's probably higher. So that means, it's $4,500 worth of additional spending. The biggest category was ATM withdrawals at about $1,000. The largest discernible category other than that was gambling at $400, and then the rest of the money is kind of spread broadly across a range of categories. But yeah, at least half of this very large transfers out the door within a pretty short period of time.
And what is the hit that you calculated to people's ultimate financial superannuation savings?
Yeah, so most people withdrew 20 grand, and if you were 34, that's the most common age, and you withdrew 20 grand and you're going to retire at 65, in today's dollars, you can expect your retirement balance to be $120,000 lower. So, 8 weeks of very high spending, and you lose $120,000 at retirement. That's a pretty staggering kind of choice.
Stephen, I think it's fair to say that you would characterise yourself as being a free market economist. You're centre-right. The argument made by the centre-right Australian government at the time was that this was people's money, it was their money, and they should have access to it when they needed it most. Now that you have done all of this work on it, what is your overall assessment of that scheme?
Yeah, at the time I didn't think a whole lot of it. I thought, we're in the fog of war, we've got to get money out the door, we've got to get people spending, we've got to keep the economy supported. But when you do this kind of forensic research into the program, it's hard not to see that it was a bad idea. I think overwhelmingly, most people didn't do it, but overwhelmingly the people who did it are the kinds of people that we have mandatory superannuation for in the first place, the people that need to be forced to save for their retirement. And so this program kind of unwound that system, and so I think in general it would have been better to fund it elsewhere.
Does that have implications then for, say, tapping into super for housing, which is another key argument of the coalition?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think the key problem with this scheme was it was tapping into super for consumption. Right? I mean, we didn't know how people would spend the money, but overwhelmingly they burnt through it for consumption. The difference with the housing policy is that it's using super for a long-run investment in your future, right? We know that owning a home is very good for retirement, and so I see that as a different rationale. But today, under exceptional circumstances, you can withdraw money from super, and given what we see in this program, I'm really not sure it's a good idea.
Definitely not a good idea in the long term, because when we look at the scheme, the people who withdrew are the exact people for whom it was set, so that there would be compulsory saving for them in their retirement. And if you give them that opportunity, oh boom, they will withdraw. And what did they do? Rather than invest, they just spend it. So there you go. Well, even before that findings, that could have been predicted that this is what's going to happen. Of course, it did, stimulate the economy. But the long being and the stability of the people further down the track is gone down the drain. So you spend 30-40 grand right now, it has a big effect till your retirement age, when it makes a difference in your end figure of about $120,000. Staggering figures there. Well, right now, the call for closing the gap.
What were the key recommendations of the report?
Yeah, Michael, good morning. Well, the report said that it's a case of consolidation and new targets. It also made a point of pointing to some of the images and the vision that was very confronting that we saw coming out of Alice Springs, saying that that's a key example of where there hasn't been the sort of change and reform that's required. The report makes 10 recommendations that go to the 17 targets. Chief amongst those is to reduce the life expectancy gap. That's more than 11 years for Aboriginal men and more than 9 years for Aboriginal women. And the report looks at different mechanisms of how to do that. And you pointed out that more than 50 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander organisations are behind Close the Gap. Well, they've put forward what they think are the ways forward, and that means a lot of programs that are being driven from the community level. And this is really a report that goes to that. That it also points to the two recommendations that are on track: employment and of Indigenous adults, and also land rights. But there are 7 that are. This report, Strong Culture, Strong Youth, Our Legacy, Our Future, is really pointing to the future and looking very squarely at those recommendations around young people predominantly, Michael.
And what did the report say about the Uluru Statement from the Heart?
Well, interestingly, it included a recommendation for the full completion of the Uluru Statement. So an enshrined voice within the Constitution, of which we're having a very national debate about right now. A Makarrata Commission, which is a Yolngu term that means coming together for a process of agreement making after conflict. And then also a policy and process around national truth-telling. That's certainly something we've heard from Linda Burney, the Minister for Indigenous Australians, the day after Garma. When I was speaking to her right here on News Channel, she said that there would be processes, and that what she was seeing across the nation was like 1,000 flowers blooming. The processes around truth-telling in the arts, in sport, in government, academia and the media, that she says is so important to having this full conversation. Now, interestingly, Michael, this comes as today, of course, the referendum working group is meeting in Adelaide, as you've just been talking about, with members of Cabinet. There have also been a number of prominent Indigenous people from that group speaking to the media in recent days. Sean Gordon, who is the chairman of Uphold and Recognise, who sits on that group, was speaking to me on the drum last night, saying that really he expected there to be a frank and full discussion today as we head towards the final wording. Thomas Mayer was on Radio National just this morning saying that the reporting around some of the words that the Attorney General is reported to have put forward haven't been supported by that group. So we're really expecting that today we're likely to get a sense or the final wording that Cabinet will deliberate on before a decision's made about what words we'll all be voting on sometime later this year.
So sometime later this year is when we will have our chance to say, give our voice to having the voice or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our today's interview. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this very special segment. And once again today, in this Community Connect section, we are going to be talking about the upcoming Bharatiya Nav Varsh Utsav. And to talk about that, we have the representative from DJJS, which is Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan. We have Ashish with us once again. Ashish, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Meshi, for having me here.
And thank you so much for coming out today and talking about Bharatiya Nav Varsh 2023. So first of all, just for the benefit of our listeners, Bharatiya Nav Varsh, which means Bharatiya or Hindu New Year, why is it different from the mainstream New Year? Its significance and relevance, please.
As we know, like in different parts, we follow different calendars. But yeah, the Gregorian calendar is followed around the world. But what's different with the Indian calendar and why do we celebrate Indian New Year is because of the calculations, because the Indian calendar is formed keeping the sun and the moon's position in mind. So it's called the solilunar calendar, and keeping both those positions in mind, we form these dates and these months, and depending on those months, it is during the second half of March or the first week of April that we have this Indian New Year. And the reason why we take into account the positions of these planets and the sun and moon, because it affects the vibrations around us. So it's very important to just be aligned to the nature and the occurrences in the nature and around our planet, and then keeping those in mind, celebrating these occasions and these special moments when the environment around us also supports us with those positive vibrations for everyone around the community.
So that is very, very important that it's been followed. Now, of course, we know that in the Hindu way, it's Bikram Samvat, and I think this year would be 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So how is that calculated?
So the Vikram Samvat, as Umesh said, is the Vikram Samvat. It will be 2080 this year, and that's calculated, as I told, on the basis of the position of the sun and moon. And then this is Chaitra Baisakh, which is the month, and the 14th of this month, as per the Indian calendar, is the new year, and so it falls on the 18th March of the Gregorian calendar. So this is how these calculations are made. So yeah, mathematically speaking, it's very complex. But yeah, just knowing the overview, it's the first day of the Chaitra month, and that is when we celebrate the Indian New Year.
And very well said. And of course, it is very, very accurate as well. When we look at these calculations which have been done, so long ago, and all the learned rishis and munis at those times did these calculations, and based upon that, the movement of the planets, and based on that, Bikram Samvat. So this calendar, though we can say with conviction, is that it's very, very accurate. Okay, getting back to the Bharatiya Nav Varsh Utsav. I know we've been doing that for last few years, and it's been wonderful to see it grow from the humble beginnings to where it is growing. So let's talk about the actual event this year, where it's taking place and what shape it will be taking.
This year the different part would be that I think for last 3 or 4 years we have been doing this event in King George Square, CBD. But this year it'll be in the Circle Robel Domain Park, which is in Springfield Central, and it's a beautiful venue. I think it's a lovely venue to hold such an event, and everyone who'll come there you would know and would have the same opinion about that venue. So this year the main highlight of the event would be the Ram Leela, or the play on Lord Rama's life. And we have some 7 or 8 different excerpts from the entire Ramayana, and it would be lovely to have, because people like from India, from the Indian community, they know how fun and how enjoyable, or how learning that experience of attending a Ram Leela has been for people in India, and this event would give some sort of a same experience to all. And apart from that, there'll be cultural performances by kids and other people like Indian folk, Bhangra. So it'll be all fun and learning for everyone. We also do have food stalls, because I think the Indian events without food would be incomplete. So there'll be delicious Indian curries and Indian street food. And there'll be stalls for kids as well, because the kids who are there can spend a good time and let their parents also enjoy the event. So there'll be activity stalls for kids as well, who all are there. They can have a good time there. So this is just like the overview of the event.
And it's a full festival by the looks of it. Yes, and Robail Domain, it's a venue that actually calls for that. It's a beautiful stage and a beautiful environment there in the beautiful pristine parklands, and it is a quite open space, lots of space, so it's not going to be congested. Good place to move around. Now, we were talking about Ram Leela. I could not help but remember, during Dussehra in our college days in Chandigarh, we used to look forward to the Ram Leela that was being staged on many stages. And so, it will be reliving those kind of memories. And as you have mentioned, that within our Indian community, the love the plays and the drama, and especially Ram Leela, everyone would really, really love that. So, and I know that Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan always is very sensitive to the right issues. So, the right aspects, the accepts will be played and will be reenacted on the stage. So that will be wonderful. Now, for people, if they want to come in, and as per all previous years, what are the entry requirements and who is welcome?
Oh yeah, so everyone, irrespective of their cultural background or their age, everyone is welcomed, because there will be something for everyone, as I told prior. And there are no entry fees, so everything is free of charge. No charges for entry. Only when you're there and you're purchasing anything, any food item from the food stalls, apart from that, nothing will be paid. You can enjoy the event. And it'll start from 2:30 and then go on up till 6:30, keeping the community around in the noise levels. So we have kept this time. So it'll be a lovely venue. The weather forecast is also good, so no rains for now, and it'll be lovely, pleasant weather, and a perfect place to enjoy such an event.
And yes, whenever there is an outdoor event, we always have to be mindful of the weather, and God permitting, with the divine grace of Maharaji, I think, we will be graced with a very good weather in Robail Domain. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, it was going to be a wonderful event celebrating Indian New Year celebrations. I know we have just completed the Chinese New Year, or the new Lunar New Year, as we know, different celebrations which went on throughout almost a month. So now this is the time to celebrate the Bharatiya Navvars Utsav, which is the Indian New Year celebrations. Come and celebrate in a joint manner, in a united manner, open for all, free for all. There's no entry fee. Of course, the stalls will be there, so if you purchase anything, that's all you'll have to be paying at the stall. So in conclusion, Ashish, is there anything you'd like to add for our listeners and viewers?
Oh yeah, it's just that in the end, I would like to thank my master, my Gurudev, Shri Ashutosh Maharaji, because it is under his guidance that Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan has been steadfast on this path. And we just want to take the spirituality, the practical spirituality, and the true essence of being an Indian to the Indian community out here in Brisbane, because DJS has been very active in Australia for last somewhat 10 to 12 years now, and we have been doing events in different states, namely Adelaide, Perth, Sydney or Melbourne. So, but we the community in Brisbane, the Indian community, and also the other community in Brisbane is lucky to have Bharatiya Navavarsh every year in Brisbane. So I would welcome you all there at the Circle Robin Domain Park, starting from 2 p.m. So the more attendance we have at the start, it's better, so we can start off the event at time and then finish it at time. So just would love to have you all and enjoy the event.
And thank you very much for all that information and for all that you do, and all the team of the Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan in furthering the objectives of the Hindu culture and religion, and taking that message out to the wider communities, showing that we are all one, the inclusiveness and the harmony that this will promote. Even at this point in time, rather than any time, it is much needed that we show our unity and harmony in promoting this. So this is open to everyone. Come and enjoy the joyous Bharatiya Navavarsh Utsav 2023. Thank you very much for coming in and sharing that information with all our viewers and listeners.
So much, Umesh ji, for having me here to make the community know about this event and invite them all.
Hey, well, ladies and gentlemen, up to date on Brisbane Australian Indian Radio and Brisbane Indian Times website as well. You'll find all the information for Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan and the upcoming Navavarsh Utsav, which will be held at Robin Domain this year. Started off in one of the school halls in Southside. Then we went to Benio, King George's Square, and now Robin Domain, where we have a growing Indian community as well. Ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report, which brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. Now more than ever before, India's opposition parties, but not including the Indian National Congress Party, want to come together to unitedly form a third front to fight the general election in 2024. Indian opposition parties are scrambling to get the leaders of 8 different parties to work in unison. These 8 leaders are the ones who have written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on March 5th against what they saw as the blatant misuse of central agencies. However, the Indian National Congress does not figure in this plan. If this unity becomes a reality, it will be another blow to Congress party and finally perhaps lead to the creation of a united opposition front that replaces the old UPA led by the Congress. The objective of the united group is to take on the BJP on key issues in the elections. The March 5th letter cited the case against Delhi's former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. As a part of the plan, Samajwadi Party leader and former Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav will travel to Kolkata on March 17th to meet West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to discuss the way ahead. A meeting of the 8 parties is being scheduled during the ongoing budget session in New Delhi. It will be scheduled after taking the consent of the leaders of all 8 parties. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party, his West Bengal counterpart Mamata Banerjee of the Trinamool Congress, Telangana CM K. Chandrasekhar Rao of BRS, Bihar Deputy CM Tejasvi Yadav of RJD, former CMs Akhilesh Yadav of SP, Sharad Pawar of NCP, Farooq Abdullah of NC and Uddhav Thackeray of the Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena will be invited for the meeting to evolve a common strategy for the 2024 election. A senior Trinamool leader said the Congress has been kept out of this formation as its electoral strategy doesn't fit with the regional party's plans. The TMC leader said the proposed new united opposition front want others to rally behind the dominant anti-BJP power in a state. They say that the Congress and the left should not have banded together against Trinamool in the last West Bengal Assembly election. These 8 parties will also take on the BJP on common issues or back each other on vital issues for their respective states. On March 14th, National Conference leader Farooq Abdullah discussed the possibility of these 8 parties coming together to demand assembly elections in his territory of Jammu and Kashmir. India's engineering major Balu Forge has secured a major trial order to supply powertrain sub-assemblies to a Middle East-based firm. In a big boost to India's Make in India initiative, precision engineering major Balu Forge has secured a major trial order to supply powertrain sub-assemblies to a tractor manufacturer firm based out of the Middle East. Balu Forge in an exchange filing said that it will supply a range of powertrain sub-assemblies as a part of the deal. These components will be used in the production of engines that will power a variety of tractors. The order comprises supplying 10,000 sets of sub-assemblies. It could increase to over 50,000 annually. The company has already started supplying under the contract and expects to generate revenues in the upcoming quarters. The company has been at the forefront of precision component manufacturing for many years. The order will cement its position in the agricultural sector. The order is in line with the management's strategic initiatives on expanding footprints in overseas markets and also marks its foray into the field of powertrain sub-assembly production and supplies. Indian origin executive Vimal Kapoor has been named as the next chief executive of Honeywell International, succeeding Darius Adamczyk, who has been Honeywell CEO since 2017. In yet another global recognition of Indian talent, Indian origin business executive Vimal Kapoor has been elevated to the office of a top American MNC Honeywell International. Honeywell International on March 14th said that Vimal Kapoor, who has more than 3 decades of experience in leading the diversified manufacturer's various businesses, will succeed Darius Adamczyk as chief executive. The 57-year-old Kapoor will take over the top role on June 1st, roughly 10 months after he was appointed Honeywell's president and chief operating officer. Kapoor joined the company after completing his education in India. He graduated from the Thapar Institute of Engineering in Patiala as an electronics engineer with a specialization in instrumentation. He has held several key positions in the company, including CEO of its building technologies as well as performance materials and technologies units. Kapoor also oversees the company's operating model, Honeywell Accelerator, which uses various tools, processes and best practices to improve efficiency. Adamczyk, who has been Honeywell CEO since 2017, will continue to serve as executive chairman. Kapoor earlier served as managing director for Honeywell Automation India. The Indian stock market recovered in the early morning trade on March 15th as inflation data cheered the investors on Wall Street. Indian share markets on March 14th witnessed losses for the 4th straight session despite gains in the morning trade. But all losses were wiped out as the indices recovered in the morning session of March 15th to trade in the green. Sensex was 300 PTS higher and Nifty around 17,200 in the early morning trade. All sectors are trading higher with bank, metal and IT leading the rally. Wall Street climbed on March 14th as inflation data cheered the investors. Asian markets are also trading in the green in the morning session. On March 14th, the Sensex declined 338 points or 0.58% to close at 57,900. The Nifty also fell 111 points or 0.65% to finish at 17,043. In the forex market, the rupee was trading at 82 rupees and 49 paise against the US dollar in the afternoon deals. At the multi-commodity exchange, gold futures for April contracts were trading at 57,510 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for May contracts were trading at 66,225 rupees per kilogram. Meanwhile, reports claim that foreign investors have pumped more than 6,300 crore rupees into the Indian capital markets till the 13th of March. Foreign portfolio investors invested rupees 13,540 crores in the equities market and rupees 1,185 crores in the hybrid market. On the other hand, FPIs pulled rupees 2,987 crores from the debt market and rupees 5,380 crores from the voluntary retention route of the debt market, taking the total net inflow in the Indian capital markets to rupees 6,357 crores so far in March. Bollywood welcomed the return of star Sara Ali Khan after more than a year. Sara stars in a suspense thriller titled Gaslight. Directed by Pawan Kirpalani, Gaslight is a murder mystery that also stars Chitrangada Singh and Vikrant Messi. The trailer of the upcoming Bollywood suspense thriller Gaslight, starring Sara Ali Khan, Vikrant Messi and Chitrangada Singh in lead roles, has been released. Set for a digital premiere, the trailer gives a sneak peek of the edge-of-the-seat thriller, which revolves around a murder mystery with many suspects. The trailer opens with a wheelchair-bound Misha, portrayed by Sara Ali Khan, returning to her home. On her arrival, she is welcomed by Chitrangada Singh and she inquires about her father. Chitrangada, who plays Misha's stepmom, tries to hide her father's murder from her, but she eventually finds out about it after being haunted by his ghost. Misha, who is busy looking for her father, finds him dead in mysterious circumstances. Doubting it to be a murder, Misha sets on a journey to find her father's murderer, where she comes across a lot of terrifying instances. In this journey, Kapil can be seen helping Misha. Vikrant Messi essays the role of Sara's father's personal assistant Kapil and seems to have delivered yet another winning performance. The trailer ends with a power-packed dialogue by Misha: "Each one of my fears will eventually lead me to the answers I am seeking." Sara Ali Khan also shared the trailer on her Instagram handle and wrote, "शक का घेरा है बढ़ता जा रहा, आखिर खूनी है कौन?" Watch the trailer now. Directed by Pawan Kirpalani and produced by Ramesh Turani, Gaslight is slated to release on March 31st on Disney Plus Hotstar. Bollywood heartthrob Aditya Roy Kapoor is seen flaunting his dance moves with Mrunal Thakur in his latest dance number, Soniye J, from the film Gumraam. Aditya Roy Kapoor is back on the dance floor with his latest song, Soniye J, from his upcoming murder mystery thriller Gumraam. Taking to Instagram, Aditya treated fans with a full song video and captioned it, "DJ drop, Soniye J song out now." Dressed in a printed shirt and jeans, Aditya flaunts his dance moves in swag. He's seen dancing with girls and looks hot in the video song. Aditya will be seen portraying a double role for the first time in his career, whereas Mrunal Thakur will play the role of a cop in the film. Aditya and Mrunal will be sharing the screen space for the very first time in the film. The producers had earlier released the teaser of the film on the occasion of Holi. Helmed by debutant director Vardhan Khetkar, Gumraam is an official Hindi remake of a Tamil hit action thriller film Thadam, released in 2019. Directed by Magis Thirumeni, the Tamil film starred Arun Vijay and Tanya Hope in the lead roles. That's all for this bulletin of the Daily India Report.
And thank you very much for that, Simran. Well done. A beautiful report once again there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk to you about the Harmony Day Festival that's taking place this Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And then right after that, at 2 p.m., we also have another very beautiful program that's taking place, and that's the Divya Jyoti Jagriti Sansthan and their function. So come and join into that as well. So the timing is very good. One is 10 to 2, the other one starts at 2, and they are in very close proximity of each other. So you can easily switch from one to the next one. So this is what's going to be happening this weekend. There's lots of other functions that are taking place this weekend. We will update all the functions and events and probably try and bring them to you maybe from tomorrow. Hey, it's been wonderful having your company today, and it's right now 27 degrees and sunny right here in Brisbane, and until tomorrow it's goodbye from us.